Welcome to Life by Design, episode 333.
Welcome to Life by Design. I'm your host, Dr. Kresimir Jug, and as is always the case, the fact that you are hearing my voice means that I am not joined by my brother from another mother, Dr. Jamie Richards, who has flown to New Jersey to pick up his beautiful family and then come home. Either way, we are the creators of Life by Design with many locations worldwide. Each week we discuss the principles and the practice of Life by Design. And today I'm going to be talking about something that I have spent a lot of time recently thinking about, and that's why you or me or any other human might not be lazy or lack willpower. And I'm specifically referencing a case when you have some goal or some ambition in your life that you would like to pursue, or some value that you'd like to create, whether it's losing weight, going to the gym, creating financial independence, creating a business, becoming a better marketer, whatever it is. I'm looking at my son's drum kit as I'm pacing around the basement, learning how to play the drums or learning how to play the guitar as I look at my guitar, whatever it is. And typically, the way that this goes is you have this ambition or you have a pain that you'd like to avoid. I would love it if more of us were motivated by a purpose, but oftentimes it's to get away from something. Specifically with examples like the gym, not many people are joining the gym because they have this desire to be healthy and to maximize the movement. Most people are joining because they don't want to get fat or they want to avoid some disease or whatever the story is. And that's okay. That's not in question right now. But we've all experienced this. We join, we get motivated for whatever reason, and we join or we start, and then we give up and we stop and we do it less often than we would have liked to imagine. And the culprit always is us, right? We say things like, we might not see these things. Sometimes we make excuses for ourselves, but deep down inside, I think most of us would say, I'm lacking the willpower, or I'm lacking the motivation. There's many things that I would rather do other than doing that. And I have three main ideas that I would like to share with you today. And the first one is the cultural context in which we are brought up, right? And let's not pretend for 1 second like the cultural context that we've all grown up in is that somehow you and me and us individually are all alone. We're not like the other human beings on the planet, and we are inherently broken and stupid, right? We have these ads, they're telling us, we need to get the things that we get, and unless we have these things, and unless you have a house, you're stupid, and unless you have 2 cars, unless you have a family or a wife, and there's these certain expectations that culture puts on us. I wrote in the show notes, and by the way, if you're looking for anything, I've attached all the Think by Design stuff. Go to lifebydesign.com/podcast, and it's all there. And as always with these things, and this is why it's so great to have Jamie on the show. I have so many ideas swimming through my head that I forget what I was talking about. I know that I was talking about the culture, and I know that I was going to make a great point, and I decided to tell you about all the Think by Design stuff. And as a result, I've lost my train of thought. Sometimes I feel like an 80-year-old person. But the point is we have this culture where we're grown up to think that we're stupid, to think that somehow we're designed to be broken. We say things like, that things are common when they're really not common. People say, I'm just getting older, or I can't do that. And we have these belief system, built around these ideas that somehow we can't do things, or we're broken, we're made to feel bad, we're designed, we're ugly and we're stupid. And I remember what I was going to say, so much so, and I wrote this in the show notes, that Nathanial Branden, the Six Pillars of Self-Esteem author, and the one who wrote, in my opinion, and I know in Jamie and Mike and Rochelle's opinion, the best book on self-esteem and how to actually action it and create it, he included in his definition that of all the judgments that we pass, the hardest one we pass is the one on ourselves, which is brutal when you think about it. And it's so brutal that it has really nothing to do with self-esteem, but he decided, probably because it was so common, at least this is what I'm telling myself, probably because it was so common in the patients that he was treating, right? They were so hard on themselves and they thought they were extra dumb and extra stupid, that he decided to include that in the definition. And of course, none of this is true. None of this is true. This cultural backdrop that we've all accepted, I'm not really sure how it was created or why it was created, and I don't want to, give you some conspiracy theory or whatever. But the point is that's the mood of the culture. Every time you're motivated to do something, it's not uncommon for the people in your life to give you the underhanded jealousy tones, like the underhanded comments and the poking fun and the ridiculing, especially when you get into groups, because how dare you decide to stand up and do something different or do something for yourself? You're like the rest of us. So there's that, and like I was saying, it's not true. That's just something that we've accepted. It's something that we've accepted. And of course, I believe that the opposite is true. And we at Life by Design believe that the opposite is true. We believe that you're designed to be extraordinary. And we believe that you're designed to be great. When we just look at the amazingness of your human body and your genetic makeup and the things that humans, the few of them through time who have actually stood up and been able to execute on their dreams and values and what they've created and how wonderful it is, I believe that we have, and that you have, that potential inside of you. So, this is a much deeper conversation other than, the 5-minute rant that I just went on this podcast. But I believe you would be doing yourself and your family a very great service to adopt different beliefs around what your role or your children's role is as human beings in this world. I think humans are the most amazing things. I think we're wonderful, and life is awesome. But nonetheless, you're starting with this idea that somehow you're programmed to get, to fail and to break. So what happens is when you start down this path, and I'll use the gym as an example, but we can really use any other example. So you have this, it's Christmas time and you're partying and you're eating too much and drinking too much and going to the parties, and you get motivated to start the gym, and you're going to start on January 1st. And the motivation is genuine. You feel great about it, and fine. So it's easy to go get a membership. It's fairly inexpensive, to get a membership at lots of places. I can't believe that a $10 a month membership is a good business model for a gym, but apparently it is. So you go get a membership, and then what happens is you go the first day, and maybe you go the second day, or maybe you even go the first week, and then you're done and you stop. And then again, it's I'm lazy, or I just lack the willpower, or I lack the motivation. And again, those things might be true. Maybe it really isn't deep down inside that important for you to join the gym and to do these things. But then again, maybe it is. And maybe a lack of willpower, maybe a lack of willpower or being lazy isn't the real culprit. In most cases, if you really want this goal, the first thing that you're lacking clarity. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, here's a fun experiment that you can do with your family. And I'm an expert at doing this because for a long time in my life, I thought that people could read my mind. So I didn't think that I had to explain things absolutely clear in order for them to do what I wanted them to do. So I would give ambiguous directions, and as a result, I would get ambiguous actions by them because they weren't sure on what to do. So play around with this. Give your kids very precise direction, like to the T, and then give your kids imprecise direction, like with a bunch of, missed steps and vague outcome goals, and you'll see the results that you're going to get over time. You're the same way. If you're unclear exactly what it is that you're trying to do, what do you want your body to look like? What do you want the scale to say? What do you want your body composition to be? What do you want to feel like in your clothes? if you can answer those questions in your mind, probably written down would be better, so you can look at them and relive the positive emotions that you're going to create by writing them down, but you're going to get clarity, right? You're going to be at least clearer on a vision. I want to lose 20 pounds and 10 pounds of fat is a lot clearer than I want to lose some weight. And the greater clarity you can get around these things, the better you're going to perform, because you're going to know what it is that you need to be doing. So the first thing before you even set foot into that gym is you need to create more clarity in your life. And this is infinitely deep, right? Clarity means who's going to write your programming? How are you going to do it? What exercises do you need to do? What reps do you need to do? How do you need to feel after these exercises? How many days a week do you need to do this? What do you need to eat to do this? And now you're starting to see the issue, right? Is that for a lot of us, answering these questions becomes tough. And again, there's a level of uncertainty because you might not necessarily know. But it's really important that you answer these questions, because if you don't answer them, then the same things are going to happen, right? It's like learning an instrument. I'm staring at my guitar, and I'm probably going to pick it up after I'm done recording. What songs do you want to learn? When are you going to practice? How do you actually learn how to play the guitar? What skills are you trying to acquire? And I found in dealing with a lot of the people over time that clarity and planning, right, sitting down and going through the process of really thinking these things out and becoming clear on how it is you're going to manage these obstacles is actually the main reason why most people, have an ambition or have a goal and then they can't act it out. With, this on top of already feeling like you're broken and programmed for failure, right? So we've woven this failure culture tapestry, and now, you're going to go ahead and try something that is scary and new, and, you're not sure if you're going to succeed, and then you don't succeed, and you just confirm the story that you've been told your whole life, which is that, you're a sack of lazy garbage. I don't believe that, but that's what, unfortunately, most of society wants you to believe. And then, of course, the cycle repeats itself over and over. So it's important to gain clarity. And then, when it is that you're gaining clarity, the thing that you want to do, and the other step the second point that I want to leave you with is, once you're on your path, it's always important to reassess your progress. Because the other thing that happens is people get on the path, they're doing a good job, and there's no way to assess where they should be along their goal to where you actually are. And then what ends up happening is a lot of people get stuck at a higher level, but not at the level that they want to get, right? There's no, in life by design, we call it a feedback loop, right? If you're coming into my practice and you say your goal is whatever, I want to be able to have this level of health. Well, I'm always going back and rechecking based on what you said your goal is, where your level of health is right now, and then we can go ahead and reassess and make sure that we're setting new goals, which will involve a new strategy and new intensity and new duration in order to get you to the next level. So my point and my main takeaway is, actually my main two takeaways, take a look at the beliefs that you are surrounded and the beliefs that you have, and really question whether those beliefs are true or whether they're not, and if they're not, then program beliefs that are true and that are going to be beneficial to you into your life. And if you ever catch yourself in the I'm lazy and I lack the willpower trap, make sure that it's true that you actually are lazy and lacking willpower in this particular case, versus you are unclear on what it is that you believe and where it is that you need to go. And if that's the case, that's great news, because yes, it's true that developing clarity will take a lot of work, but it'll also help get you to where you need to go. And remember, please, guys, check out the podcast, lifebydesign.com/podcast. It's all there for you. We've included the Think by Design ebook, and join the free Think by Design 30-day challenge. And if you're joining things, then please join the drive to 1 million families worldwide living life by design.